Well, hello, and thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and watch my Twixmas webinar, Navigating Menopause Naturally, a simple blueprint for healthy living in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. I really appreciate you giving up about 43 minutes of your time to watch this. And I hope that by the end of it, you'll be motivated and inspired to think, I'm going to change a couple of things, that perhaps you'll have learned two or three things or be reminded of two or three things that you didn't know, and that you'll think, yeah, you know what, it was worth giving up my time for that. So if you don't know me, who am I? I'm Sam Palmer. I'm a wife, a mum, a stepmom, a dog lover. I'm actually 59 now. I'm a nurse. I trained at King's in London. I'm a qualified teacher, and I'm a coach who has been working with women in their health and fitness for over 22 years. So I have got loads and loads of experience working with women. But for the last 10, nearly 11 years, I have specialized in women in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. The menopause world has exploded over the last 2 or so years. Particularly since Davina has talked about her struggles. And that means that people are popping up everywhere talking about themselves being menopause experts. But I like to put myself in a slightly different camp because I've got a clinical background, a nursing background, because I've got so much experience. I hope that you will feel that I give a slightly different, a deeper perspective on into this subject, and that I'm not just sharing something that happened to me. So, who am I and what have I done? I'm the creator of a Move Over Menopause signature program. I'm passionate about using movement to help us feel good. And my signature program is called Move Over Menopause. I am the creator of an online fitness platform dedicated specifically to women in menopause. It actually started just around COVID when the world went mad and you were either drinking gin and tonics or becoming digital. I was one of the ones who went digital. I had to stop my face-to-face classes and I went online originally for 7 weeks, and 3 or so years later I have not looked back. I absolutely love meeting the women that I do that come to me from all over the world, normally English spoken, I accept, but they tune in and take part in live or on demand my online fitness classes because they work for them. I'm also the designer of a specific strength class called Abs, Arms and Arse because they're the areas that we want to get strong in. You'll understand a little bit more once I go through this, why strength is so important for you in so many ways. But getting started in a strength journey is a really scary thing. It takes a lot of guts to turn up to a gym where everybody's 20 or 30 years younger than you and start lifting weights when you've got no idea what you're doing. So the class that I teach helps you do that from the safety of your home. And then my latest program is called Feel Great in 8. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit about that towards the end of this session. It's an 8-week online program designed to help you get from where you're feeling now to feeling back to being more confident again. And as I say, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. If you were here with me live, I'd be asking you, are you tuning in from a mobile, a laptop, or an iPad or a device? But as you're watching this on catch up, I don't need to know the answer to that. I would also have asked you if you know how to turn the sound on or off so you can ask me questions, turn your camera off if you don't want to be seen, which is fine, and find the chat button, which would have been helpful for you to ask me questions. But I'm not going to ask you that. But I am going to ask you, I'd love to know, have you ever been to one of my webinars before? If you've tuned into this sort of thing and you're used to me whittering away, then fine. But if you're new, this is the first time you've come across me, and when you get to the end, you think, yeah, actually, that was quite nice. I like to listen to her. Do say hello to me, please. I'm a real person sitting in my office here in Sevenoaks in Kent in the UK. And I love to engage with people and be real. I'm not one of those faceless people. There are various ways that people normally come across the work that I do. LinkedIn is somewhere where I feel comfortable talking to people. Instagram, slightly less comfortable. Everybody's a bit judgy. I've got a private Facebook group where I'm very comfortable telling people what I do. Often it's word of mouth where people have found out about me, or perhaps you've just Googled, how can I feel better in menopause, or any of the other things that you might Google. So you're in the right place if you're here tonight watching as a woman, as a female, probably over 50 or around 50. There are sometimes people come across me a little bit earlier, but generally it tends to be about that age, and quite possibly over 60. More and more women are waking up to the fact that we get to our late 50s and 60s. We've got a lot of time still to live, and we need to know how to be healthy and fit and strong and vibrant. That stuff's really important. But perhaps you found me because you've been searching as a result of a lack of confidence. Perhaps you're feeling that your confidence is at an all-time low, both at home and at work. You've lost your confidence socially. You've perhaps lost your confidence in your relationships. Perhaps in a work situation, you're scared of pitching now or looking for promotions. You're taking what you know is the easy way out, where you never used to do that. And it's because of this lack of confidence. Perhaps you're somebody who is struggling with this weight gain. You've put on weight, you've got no idea why, because as far as you can see, you're not doing anything different. You're eating the same foods or pretty much the same. You're doing the same amount of exercise, whether that's not much or too much. But basically nothing's different, except everything's different. And you're not looking down at this body and thinking, yes, that's me. In fact, you might be looking in a mirror and not liking the person who's staring back at you. You might think, no, that's my mum. That's my grandma. I don't look like that. And that's a really common thing, this lack of identification with who we're becoming. And you therefore may feel like nobody really gets it. Nobody really understands what you're feeling right now. In fact, only yesterday I read a Facebook post where somebody said, my husband said, just pull yourself together. Everybody else gets through it. I don't know what's the matter with you. And you might be feeling a little bit like that, like in some way you've failed. You haven't. It just means that you haven't found the right tribe of people, the right information at a level that works for you. But to be honest, everybody's watching this because they're ready to take on board information and they want to do something to feel better about themselves, even if it's something really small. You're interested in your health. You don't want to be left behind. You want to know about the research that's coming out and how to make yourself feel better. So if I asked you to describe in 3 words, how are you feeling now? That's always a really interesting thing to do. The words that come up in the live session are discombobulated, confused, lonely, feeling a bit left behind, anxious about life, unsure about the future. If you were to write 3 words down for you, I wonder what they would be. It's important to gift yourself time to do this every now and again. You might think it's not worth it, but actually the process of your brain thinking into a pen and down onto a piece of paper makes it real. And it makes it much easier for you to stick to a new plan or way of thinking to help you get out of this funk and back to where you want to be. So towards the end of this webinar, I'm going to share with you a simple 7-day plan to help you get back in control of your life again. Really simple things that I need to be reminded about myself all the time, just in exactly the same way as you will do. Things that will mean that you start to sleep better. You can look forward to uninterrupted sleep. Things that will help your anxiety and the things that you're worrying about that you can't control, reducing that. Becoming less foggy-headed, thinking more clearly and having more confidence about your thinking. And importantly, never having to diet again. Now, you might think, how long is all this going to take? You know what? I reckon if we all dedicated just about 30 minutes a day to our own health, our own well-being, we would cumulatively over a year feel so much better. And that 30 minutes a day isn't difficult to find. We find it by stopping spending so much time scrolling on social media, stopping scrolling through shopping channels or watching television, just stopping some of the stuff you know isn't good for you. And it may be that you're only doing it because nobody's told you what else to do. And that's one of the things I'll be covering in my 7-day plan that comes later. Now, I do think it's really important, particularly for those of you who have never come across me before or are very new to this whole menopause health thing, that I explain to you what's going on and why, so that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, as it were. So here is a whistle-stop guide to the perimenopause and menopause, and I promise you I'm not going to bore you to tears. Now, there are three main hormones that are a key player in our menopause life stage. They're testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen. People tend to think that estrogen is the big key thing. It is a big player, it really is, but there are other things that are happening that are also important. So, from around your late 30s, and I bet you would never have thought of this in your late 30s, your testosterone, and women do have testosterone and it's important, your testosterone levels started to drop. You probably didn't even notice. From your mid 30s, your progesterone levels started to go up and down as well. But the estrogen changes didn't actually happen or won't happen until around the age of 55. So if you're anywhere in that age, your hormones are going up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's partly the reason why you may be feeling how you're feeling now. It's this up and downing thing that goes on that makes us feel so discombobulated and confused and achy, tired, exhausted, etc., etc. Once everything goes down and stays lower, as long as you're living your life in a way that's appropriate for you now, many of those perimenopause symptoms actually go. Other things come to play. I'll explain a bit more about that another time. Okay, so there are three stages to menopause. I'm sure you know this. There's the perimenopause, there's menopause, and there's postmenopause. And the menopause one is actually the shortest. The perimenopause lasts between 6 to 10, maybe even 15 years. Menopause, 1 day. And postmenopause, well, that's the bit that I think is really interesting because women will live probably around 3 decades, 30 years of our life in this postmenopause stage. That means you're going to have longer without periods than you had with them. So, doesn't it make sense to get it all right now? To be eating right, living right, sleeping right, doing the right things, so that that 30 years can be a good 30 years, not so that it's just downhill all the way. I'm not ready for that. I'm sure you're not. So, the average age for people to be in the menopause, that's the day that you haven't had a period for 12 months the in the Western world where we live, is 51. That's the average age. Of course, some people may be different. So the menopause is the day that you haven't had a period for 12 months. So even if you had a period 10 months ago and then you had another little one, you're still not quite in menopause. You're still said to be in perimenopause, which is the time that comes before it. So the perimenopause is 6 to 10 years. As I say, starts probably in your mid 30s, but you don't know it. And that's when hormones are going up and down and up and down. And that's when, particularly if you've got a teenager in your house, and you're in full-on perimenopause and they're in full-on pubescence, there's a lot of hormones floating around. I guess the average age for you to be noticing these symptoms quite regularly is about 45. They slowly creep in, but it's about 45. So the third stage is postmenopause. And as I said, this can be up to 30 years. And this is a stage of our life where perhaps you might want to give up your career and start your own business. You might want a big career jump. This might be the top of the tree. It might be the time where you think, you know what, living in good old Blighty, it's time for a change. The kids live on the other side of the world. You know what? We're going too. Or it's time to travel. Perhaps you're retiring early and you're spending all that money you earned so hard to go and see places. We need to be healthy throughout this time. And that's why we mustn't discount this life stage. Now, of course, there are some ifs and buts. Menopause can happen earlier due to surgery or illness. Some unlucky women may have symptoms for up to 20 years. Some women sail through it and say, I didn't have any problems. Everybody is very different. So now that you understand the three life stages of this menopause journey, which stage are you in? Do you now know quite clearly, okay, I'm definitely in that or that stage? I suspect you do. So why is it important? Well, in our 20s and 30s, our health was really quite simple. You could decide to give up alcohol for a bit. You could decide to give up crisps or chocolates. You could go on a diet for 9 hours and everything would change and you'd pretty much go back to being how you wanted to be. It was quite easy. We slept even if we'd been out for a boozy night. We didn't wake up in the night needing a wee. Everything was very different. But actually, everything works slightly differently now. And it's very tempting to try all sorts of faddy things to get back to being in control. I wonder if you've thought about any of these things or you've been told that these things work. Yes, give up all carbs. That definitely works. Take up jogging or running or cycling or swimming, mountain climbing. Take up something extreme. Perhaps try a juice fast, a cauliflower fast, the chili diet, the soup diet, or not eating at all on a Wednesday or a Friday. Perhaps you've been tempted to buy expensive supplements or creams or shakes or teas or any of the other things that people promise you is going to have fat dripping off from around your waist. Perhaps you've even bought those sweatsuits or had saunas or things like that in a vague attempt to feel back to how you want to feel. There are so many things that people tell us or sell us that what happens is that you often feel like you're going round and round and round and roundabout. And you know that one of the exits will work, but you don't know which one it is. And you waste a lot of money, a lot of time, and have a lot of heartache in between. I wonder which one of these things you've tried before. In the live session, people said they tried slimming clubs, but they pay money. And they don't actually teach you how to live in the way you want to live. You're just in this restricted area. Gut cleanses, shakes, giving up carbs, low fat diets, all of these things people have tried. And actually, you often just give them up because they're not sustainable. Because, as I said, we want to live a life that is full of joy and doing the things that we want to. We don't want to be restricted by something that doesn't work. All that does is ends up with you saying things like, I just want to curl up in a ball, complete silence of everybody to leave me alone. So there is another way, and I'm going to share the way that I work or that I share with people via a little story, and it's the menopause wardrobe story. So imagine, if you will, opening your wardrobe one day and all the clothes fall out. It might be now. All the clothes fall out. The shoes are all in a muddle. You've got in your wardrobe the clothes that fit you, the clothes that don't fit you, the clothes that make you feel good, the clothes that make you feel awful, the clothes that suit you and they don't suit you. You've got belts and T-shirts and all the old grey T-shirts that you love, but they look awful. And everything is absolutely full. So when you open your wardrobe and you see that, you don't think, oh, I must go and buy a new wardrobe because there isn't enough space in my original one. Yeah, you don't do that. You think, you know what? It's time for a big clear out. It's time to sort out all the things that don't fit and put back everything in on hangers, facing the right way, of the clothes that I love and they make me feel good. And that is in effect what you might do with what's going on now to help you get back to how you want to feel. The sorts of things that will be hanging in your wardrobe, maybe, could be these things. And we've all got them. This isn't me being holier than thou. Believe me, we've all got them. Too much scrolling on social media, not drinking enough water, never saying no to the people that ask things of you all the time, listening to the wrong advice, not getting enough light in your eyes, not getting enough protein in your diet, eating too few calories because that's what you were taught was right, too much of the wrong exercise, never prioritizing your sleep, your rest, and not drinking enough water. All of these things could be things that would be hanging in your menopause wardrobe that are the things that are contributing to you feeling how you want to feel. So if you look at that list and you're nodding your head, could you take out 3 of them? Could you identify immediately, okay, these are 3 things I definitely need to do. I definitely need to take 3 or maybe more of those things out of my menopause wardrobe. Now, I've talked a little bit about weight gain, and I want to really impress upon you the importance that this weight gain is not because we need to look like this. It's not because you're going to be posing on social media, any kind of Instagram. It's not because you want to look like anything on the beach. It's far, far more important than that. It's about having a body that does what you want it to do, takes itself to the toilet, sits itself onto the floor, gets up without being able to needing to use your hands, that's got enough energy to do the things you want to do, live the life you want to live, and stay disease free. Because when we are younger, those hormones that are whizzing around help protect us from disease. But as we get older, those hormones are going down. We have to do our bit to help us stay disease free, particularly postmenopausally. So, in fact, that weight gain is probably very little to do with the way that you're eating your quality streets over Christmas. And it's far more to do with three key things. Two of them, it's quite easy for you to actually get on top of and change. And that's what I've included in this 7-day plan I'm sharing with you. One of them, it's easy when you've got the right help. And that's something that I can help you with if you want it. Here are the three things. One is a lack of sleep. Two is too much stress. And three is the wrong type of exercise. So let's look at each one of those in a bit more detail. So one, sleep. Because of the changes in our hormones, there are two hormone changes that affect our sleep. And that leads to night sweats for many people, anxiety, lying awake in the night, cogitating, going over and over and over things, joint pain, sore shoulders, sore hips, sore knees, frequently waking up in the night to go for a wee. And also, although you can get to sleep, it's harder to stay asleep. That's the progesterone effect that has that problem. And you're not alone. 61% of women in perimenopause and afterwards have sleep issues. I wonder, do you? Do you notice that sleep is a problem for you? And what about your joints? Roughly 18% of women suffer from achy joints, knees and ankles at some time, and that affects us. Are you having problems with that? But one of the big things about sleep is that it affects our hunger hormones. Now, we've got two key players of hunger hormones. One tells you you're full up. Girl, you've had your Christmas lunch. You do not need to attack the quality streets as well now because your stomach is so full you can't fit another thing in. The other hunger hormone is the one, if you're watching this just before lunchtime or perhaps just before supper, that's telling you you're a bit hungry. Your stomach's starting to rumble. Now, those two hormones, when you're eating, when you're sleeping well, they do what they're meant to do in the way that they're meant to do it. But when you're not, the one that tells you you're full stops working as well. And the one that tells you you're hungry goes into overdrive. So that means you start to crave sugary foods, fatty foods, cheese and biscuits, more crisps, Pringles, even the quality streets that you don't like, you think, yeah, I'll finish them off. And that's purely because you're not getting enough sleep. So if we can change the sleep, we can change a lot. The second one is stress. I've got stress in my life. I'm sure you have. We've all got stress. We've got stress in caring for our elderly relatives or parents, financial worries, children leaving school or university or college or coming back to live with us from university or school or college. Perhaps a change of lifestyle. Perhaps you've moved abroad, moved to a new location. You don't know anybody. You feel lonely. Perhaps you've got a stressful point in your career or you're dealing with illness in relatives or friends around you. You've certainly got at least 4 of these on your to-do list, I'm sure. Notifications on your phone, committee or charity work, appointments for kids or relatives, deadlines at work, family holidays that you might be planning, and then the food shopping and the cooking, looking after your house. We've got so much on our plates. We've got stress that we're dealing with all the time. And unfortunately, when we're dealing with this stress, it means that we're constantly producing cortisol. That's the fight or flight hormone. And that hormone is the one that leads to you laying down any extra calories that you don't burn up on your tummy. That's why this weight gain goes to our tummy, because we are stressed. And then number 3, the wrong type of movement. You may have followed a fitness routine for years and years and years. You may have been a runner, a cyclist. You may have liked CrossFit. You may have been doing aerobics, all sorts of things. But actually, those movements were all designed for our younger bodies. Now we have to tweak things in line for our bodies that are changing. And this is how. So I remember I said to you that your testosterone starts to drop in your 30s. Testosterone is the hormone that is responsible for us having strong bones and strong, particularly, muscles. And when our muscles decline in strength, it's called sarcopenia. It happens to everybody as we get older. Now, muscles burn up a lot of calories. So even if you weren't a gym bunny in your 30s and 40s and you were rushing forwards to and from work and back to school and watch matches with kids and pack up the car with their kit bags and all that stuff, you had muscle all over your body automatically. But as our hormones start to change, that muscle starts to go down and down and down. And that means you don't need as much fuel as you used to. You used to be a racing car, and now, sadly, we're a bit more like a bumper car in the amount of fuel we need. We don't need the same amount of calories as we used to. That's why, if you haven't actually changed anything about your diet, you could be putting on weight, because basically you're eating too many calories for your body's requirements now. If, however, you can turn yourself back into a racing car again, bang, it all changes. And you start to use those calories up in the way that you used to. So when we start by adding some resistance, strength work into our life, not like when we were in our 30s, maybe, where you perhaps lifted heavier weights, but slowly with littler weights and getting stronger, everything starts to change. And those calories, instead of being laid down around our stomach, start to be used up as fuel. So that's what we want to do to try and reduce this waistline, if possible, is change the way we exercise. Now, there are 3 types of exercise, and I've just told you about strength. I've also mentioned that as we get older, our hormone changes mean that we're not protected from some diseases. And one of those big diseases to think about is heart disease. And so we need to do something that works our heart every week. Now, you can do that with walking, you can do it with jogging, but anything basically that makes you puff. And it doesn't need to be for an hour or an hour and a half. In fact, it mustn't or shouldn't be. Those long endurance exercises, they don't work anymore. We can come right down to much shorter types of exercise. And then the third one is restorative. And this is the thing that fills your cup up, if you like. At the end of it, you don't feel like you've done a workout. You think, oh, I feel all calm and chilled. So how do those things look in reality? Well, the restorative exercise is perhaps yoga or Pilates or Tai Chi or a gentle walk listening to the birds. It might be cycling along the flat. For you, it might be swimming, but it's anything that's really slow and calm. The strength exercise is where you're lifting weights, either your own body weight or some kind of weight in different ways. And then the cardio is anything that makes you puff. And as I say, it can be jogging or walking or cycling. So we need all 3 different types. And these different types of movement, actually help to reduce your painful joints. Motion really is lotion. It'll help you to rebuild your muscle, and it helps to repair bones as well. Our bones become thinner, leading to a risk of osteoporosis. So strength exercise is really important. The cardio exercise protects your heart. It helps you feel good. You actually get an endorphin hit, and it helps to maintain our muscle. And then this restorative exercise helps reduce our stress levels. And the internal twisting and turning, particularly in yoga, has been proven to help reduce the risk of strokes for women in midlife. So that's a really good reason. It also can help improve our sleep and reduce some symptoms of menopause. Now, I do just have a little word of warning to share with you. If you're somebody who's thinking, yeah, okay, definitely, I'm going to get back to regular workouts, and you decide that you're going to do a workout that's near you or perhaps an online workout, and that instructor says, right, we're all going to start with 20 star jumps, walk out. As a midlife fitness coach, I know that most of the women that I work with have a compromised pelvic floor because we have perhaps given birth to our children vaginally, or we've been pregnant, and now our estrogen levels are declining. Our pelvic floor isn't as strong as it used to be. And it might be able to manage day-to-day movement, but there are going to be, for most of us, some movements that just aren't suitable anymore. and star jumps is one of them. And that's why having instructors who understand what it's like to be a woman of our age doing their workout is so important. What we do is get you doing movements that increase your pelvic floor strength without putting undue pressure on it. And that's a perfect week of movement, which includes strength, resistance, and cardio. And it could be a workout of 15 to 30 minutes, but it could just be a movement snack, 5 minutes at lunchtime, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. If you start bringing movement snacks into your day when before you weren't doing anything, then wait, you're doing loads more than you used to, which is fantastic. That's the way it can be. So, I'm going to share with you in a minute my 7-day plan, but I'm just before that going to tell you a little bit about how I can help you with the movement side of all of this, if that's the bit that's lacking for you. So, I've got this new program starting on January the 15th, which is an 8-week gentle way back to fitness. It helps you get back into a fitness regime that works for your busy life. You can do the classes live or you can do them on demand. You can do as many or as few classes as you like. And we're actually starting with a planning session, so a Zoom session on Saturday, the 13th of January, where I'll tell you what classes are on offer. And then together we look at your timetable, your weekly timetable, and think, okay, I've got 30 minutes there, I've got 20 minutes there, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. So that you can come up with a plan that actually works for you. And then over the 8 weeks, progressively, you'll become more confident, you'll get stronger. I'll share high protein recipe ideas for you because it's important that you eat the right way. You'll be part of an online community, both live in the classes, but also a WhatsApp community. You'll have only menopause fitness experts coaching you, myself and my team. There's 4 of us. So this is all customized for you. And this Feel Great in 8 program at the moment is £60 for 8 weeks. There are 11 classes a week. So that brings the classes alone down to just over £1.20 or £1.10 or something per class. So it's really not an expensive program because it's dedicated to you. The price goes up to £80 on the 1st of January. So if you get in now, you'll get the £60 price. Now, you might be thinking, I'm too old and I'm too unfit. I'm sure that's what people say to me all the time. That's what Anne said. She said she never thought she would ever start a strength program. She's just actually had knee surgery. Anne is 63 and I think she joined us in September. She says already she's got a more defined waist, which is always nice, isn't it? But she's discovered a whole new approach to health and vitality. And that's a lovely thing for her to say. Anne had sore knees. I've got sore knees. You're likely to have a sore bit, a shoulder, a knee, an ankle, a wrist. So many of us had. This lady, Penny, has got arthritis. She joined and she says that she feels stronger and happier, but her arthritis has improved. Now, if Penny's in the workout, I say, Penny, you don't do that. Judy, your knees are a bit sore. Mine are too. So we'll do this and the rest of you do that. That's fine. Because we specialize in this, we can come up with things that work for you. As long as you're happy to tell us, that's not a problem. And everything is pelvic floor safe that we will ask you to do. Many of the workouts are just 30 minutes. There are 8 o'clock in the morning workouts, particularly if you work online and from home. You log on at 8 o'clock, you log back out at 8:31, you've done your workout for the day. Some of the workouts, Pilates and yoga, are a little bit longer to give you time to relax into them, but most of them are 30 minutes and it fits in to your day. And that means that we can teach you different workouts all the time. You will never get bored. Kim said that she used to get so bored with going to the same classes and she knew week in, week out what she was going to do. That's no fun. We want you to be inspired to carry on coming to our classes. And at 59, Kim says they're specifically geared to her and she loves them. You might be thinking, I've got no kit at home. I can't do this. That's fine. You can start with a tin can. You can start with a water bottle. You can start with the things that are in your house. This lady here, Amanda, is a dance teacher. She actually does seated dance classes for elderly people, in-person ones. She didn't have any weights at home. She didn't have anything. She joined the classes because she knew that she needed to up the ante a little bit for her because she's not 89. And she's been so impressed with the construction, she's kindly said, of the classes. And it's been so helpful and encouraging for her. And if we can do it for Amanda, we can do it for you. You might be thinking, I don't want to be seen. That's fine. You can turn your camera off. I don't care whether you're wearing pajamas. It doesn't matter if you've got Sweaty Betty or Lululemon on or your stuff's from Sainsbury's. I can't see most of the time. I have to be honest, once people have been with us for a week or so, they do turn their camera on. They enjoy the camaraderie of talking to me and letting me see them. But it's entirely up to you, and not everybody does. So if that's starting to sound like, you know what, I am a bit interested in this, and 8 weeks takes 8 weeks to build a habit, 8 weeks sounds like a doable amount of time. You've got a week or so to finish New Year, clear away the house, set your intention, because we don't start until the 15th of January. If you think, yeah, that sounds like quite a good thing, why don't you get hold of your phone, if you're not watching this on the phone, and scan the camera over that QR code, and it'll take you to the webpage where you can sign up. Remember, it's £60 until the 1st of January. I think it closes at midnight, and it'll go up to being £80. So get in quick now, and then you can sign up to join me. And I'll tell you about how you can join me once you've signed up. We don't need to worry about that now. But what about your 7-day plan? Okay, so that's what I'm going to share with you now. Now, the idea with this 7-day plan, and obviously you could screenshot this too, and you're watching on catch up, so you could just pause it if you want to. The idea is that you do day one, and then you do day one and day two, day one, day two, day three. So this is a cumulative thing. And these things are all geared towards the 3 things that I told you are key. So on day one, I'm going to ask you to remove all screens from your bedroom. And you're going to put yourself to bed with the aim of having an 8-hour window. So we need 8 hours of rest and or sleep. And if you know you've got to get up at 7 o'clock, but you're not going to bed till after midnight, it's never going to work, is it? So literally just trying to think about, okay, what time do I need to be going up to my bedroom and reading my book and turning down my lights to give me the best chance? It's a simple change, but it really works. And remember, that has an effect on how you eat as well. On day 2, you're going to see if you can come up with a plan to get more light into your eyes first thing in the morning. So you're going to think, okay, when can I go out, even if it's just for 10 minutes, or if it's absolutely pouring and you really can't face it, sit by an open or a window with the light in your eyes for at least 10 minutes. Come up with a plan that works for you every day. On day 3, you're going to start looking at how much water you're drinking. Coffee and tea, yes, they're fine, but we want to be drinking 2 litres of regular water. That could be hot water or cold water. It could be herb tea or fruit tea, if you like, but 2 litres of water every single day. On day 4, you're going to look with a gentle, critical eye at how much movement you are doing every week. Because we have these ideas that we're being really healthy, but actually, when you sit down and think about it, you're probably not walking very much. And start to think of ways that you can add in movement snacks in the ways of the areas that you're not doing much of. If that's strength or cardio, or if you're joining the Feel Great in 8, we'll do the planner together in that first week. On day 5, I want you to start to notice your meal times and tune into when you're 80% full. Most of the people who say that they put on weight are actually eating really good food, but they're eating too much of it because we've brought up our families and we've put all the food on their plates for them and what they need, but they play rugby or football or lacrosse, or they're going to school, or they're really busy people with all that muscle still on board. We may not be as busy, and we certainly haven't got as much muscle. So we need to eat till we're 80% full. And it's helpful if you eat slowly and really chew your food and try and eat at a table. So you're tuning into that food. That really helps with eating to 80% full. Now, here we are on day 6, and I love this one. You're going to dump, delegate, and delete. Write a list of all the things that you know you can actually get rid of. You've said yes to all these people in the past and you want to stop doing them. Stop picking up other people's clothes, doing their washing, going and doing their shopping for them. Get other people to start helping you for a change, whether that's at work or in the house. Identify what can you dump, what can you delegate, and what can you absolutely delete. And then on the final day, I'm going to ask you to commit to something positive that's just for you. and your health and your well-being? Are you going to join a choir? Are you going to start a new job? Are you going to join me for Feel Great Innate? What is it that you're going to do? This is your time now to do something positive for you. What's it going to be? Liz did that last year, exactly this time last year. When I did this webinar, she decided, right, that's it. I'm going to join Sam. And it made a difference to her so much. She said she's stronger, she's got more energy, she's noticed her body shape has changed. We don't look 30, but we feel like we did when we were 30, strong and confident. And if the Feel Great Innate is the thing that you think, yeah, you know what, I will give that a go now. Even if I don't keep it up, I'm going to sign up for it. Then here's that QR code for you again. You can screenshot it, hold your camera over that QR code, hover, and it'll take you to the right page. I hope that you've enjoyed this last 40 or so minutes with me and that you've had some light bulb moments. It's made you think, oh, yeah, you know what? I didn't know that. And that's reminded, or did know it and I'd forgotten. And it is time for me to put myself first. If you've never met me before and this is the first time you've ever watched a webinar, I'd love you to pop me a message and tell me whether you enjoyed it or what you learned from it. That would be really helpful. I will be back teaching again fairly soon. I'll be starting the Feel Great Innate soon. I'm still on social media. Do come and say hello or pop me an email. And if you've got any big burning questions, I'm in and out of my laptop over the New Year period. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching and bye-bye.